to power it, one for the left, one for the right, and it kind of creates what you would call a backyard differential system. So when you're going around a turn, one of them's going to be going a little bit faster, one of them's going to be going a little bit slower, and ultimately it works out somehow, you know. But you have to make sure that these, they're pretty small motors, they have to be very well ventilated, as I found out after burning a few of them up. Of course, my daughter has a lead foot, so that certainly doesn't help. Now the housing should come apart, kind of. There you go. So you got the one housing here. You got the trigger piece that tells it go forward and backwards. Other than that, it's just one piece of plastic. Pretty useless, really. And on the inside here, you can see you got your battery clip, which you're going to use that later if you want to use the same batteries. Here you have the electronic aspect of the pulse width modulator. This setup right here could be used for many different things. I mean, any robot application, stuff like that. Over here you have your MOSFET. That's kind of like, in layman's terms, it's kind of like a fancy transistor, essentially. And you see it's connected here to a heat sink, because these little chips, they get real hot, and the ventilator that's built inside the motor essentially blows out of the back and cools off the pulse width the MOSFET. And if, just in case you guys are wondering what MOSFET stands for, it's metal oxide semiconductor transistor. No, sorry, take that back. MOSFET stands for metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistor, MOSFET. Okay, I think I got that right. Anyway, so here you go. Got your 18-volt motor, built in China, not too fancy, has bushings, doesn't have bearings. Here you have your double planetary gear setup, which gives you this enormous amount of torque right here out of a ridiculously small setup. And to pull it out, really all you have to do is lift this out here, and that lifts right out. Again, a worthless piece of plastic no one needs. Now, inside this housing here, you have your clutch assembly, right? So you can essentially, oh, that shouldn't move. You can clutch it for different strengths, but hooked up to a little car with a 50-pound person inside, trust me, you're going to have it all the way over into the fully locked position, which, believe it or not, it still ratchets in that position if you have enough load on there. And there you go. That's your whole setup right there. Of course, you're going to have to disconnect the wires. This is going to end up in one place, that's going to end up in another place, this is going to get excited. So keep it connected until you're ready. I'll put a wiring diagram essentially on the website so that you can download that just in case you get into trouble with the different wire locations. Right on the top here you have your reverse switch. Now this is a purely mechanical switch, and the way they did it here is that if it's in one position, the trigger can trigger, and when it's switched over the other position, the trigger can trigger. Now if it gets stuck in the middle somehow, it locks it out. It has a mechanical lockout. Now that's very important to know, because you don't want one motor going forward and the other motor going backwards. Next thing you know, your kid's doing, you know, donuts in the parking lot until they get flung out, you know, and then the police will come and arrest you, and that's just a really rotten way to spend your weekend. So there you go. There's the whole chingamadaras. Now, what else do you get in this fine package right here? You get instructions, which I think can come in handy after you disassemble everything, and a really super duper high-tech charging device. Look at how fantastic. It's really just a cradle. And then here you have the actual charging adapter with the plug, which you then plug in here. And if your kid likes this pedal car, you're going to need about 15,000 of these. I'm still not totally convinced that this is a significant enough power source, but you know, it comes in the kit, you can use it, and really when it comes down to it, it's all about the fun and enjoyment of building crazy stuff.